What's going on, you guys? My name is Zach Hartley, and in this video I'm going to share with you the 4 things that I do every Sunday night in order to get ready for the week ahead and put together my trading strategy. Here we go. Alright, you guys, so the 4 things that I do every Sunday night is make sure that I have enjoyed my weekend and spent time with friends and family. Number 2 is check my markets, my market indicators. Number 3 is check my positions. And number 4 is check my watch list. So the reason they're in that order is because number 1, if you haven't spent time with your friends and family, your relationships are strained, your day is stressful, you are too busy, you're not going to be able to make clear-headed decisions when you sit down in front of that computer and you analyze your stocks. You want to make sure that you're done with your weekend, you've spent the time, you've had a good time, you're relaxed, you're in a good mindset when you sit down at that computer, because the better mindset you're in, the clearer mindset that you're in, the better decisions you're going to make. So if your kids still need to be put to bed, or you still need to have dinner, or you're busy right now, do not sit down at your computer and try and do this, because you're going to make the wrong decisions because you're going to be distracted. So number 1 is take care of life. If you have higher priorities, take care of that first. Get that out of the way so that when you do sit down at your computer, you're clear-minded and you're ready to go. Number 2 is check the markets. The reason that is number 2 is so that you can see what is going on in the broader picture. I always say when you look at a single stock, look at the industry, look at the market, look at the country ahead of that, so that you know what's going on in the bigger picture. That is going to give you a larger, more informed indication and larger, more informed picture of what is going on in the broader market, and then you can deep dive into that specific stock. So start with the markets and then look at your open positions and decide right from there, do you still want to hold these positions based on the broader market and the direction that things are going. Once you've made that decision, and let's say you still want to hold those, you need to do a deep dive into those specific positions, do a deeper analysis and say, yes, I still want to hold those. And then once you're done with that, once you've taken care of your open positions, because those are the most important, those are the ones that are going to impact you the most immediately, then you start on your watch list. You don't do it the other way around. You start with taking care of your own life. You start with the markets, and then you go on to your open positions, and then your watch list. That is the order that I use, and that is the order that works best for me. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to actually go through what my routine is. I've already done it, but I want to summarize it for you so that hopefully you can also find some market opportunities this week coming up, and you can see my analysis. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I saw going through this routine earlier today. Okay, so jump into my screen real quick. I've got my main chart open here. I've got the RSI, MACD, and the volume on the bottom here. And on the right-hand side, I just have my watch list with the different ones that I'm looking in. So a couple things that I just want to point out when I start looking at the market. The big thing here is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ and technology is just skyrocketing right now. It is at an all-time high. So NASDAQ 100 is higher than it's ever been. It is pushing an all-time high right now, and it is like 10, 15, 20% higher than it was prior to COVID. The composite's also doing extremely well. The Dow Jones Industrial is not doing quite as well. It looks like it's still down about 5-10% from its highs prior to COVID. And the S&P 500, really interesting point. We are currently testing the all-time high prior to COVID. So that's a really good sign. The S&P 500 is the broadest index in the United States, and it is showing that those companies, or at least the stock price of those companies, has completely returned to prior COVID levels. So really good sign to see if you are bullish on the market. However, is this the reality of what's going on with these companies? That is something that only time is going to be able to tell. But right now we are at a super crucial inflection point with the S&P 500. If we can break this kind of 3,400 with a clean break up, we could have a nice run coming in. So that is what the broader market looks like for us in the United States. In Canada, it's a little bit weaker. You can see the high in Canada was 17,970. We're currently at about 16,500, so we're still down about 10%, 10-15% there in Canada on the TSX. The TX60 sort of looks the same here, so not a huge change. US is probably doing slightly better than Canada, especially with the current oil prices and everything going on. But that's okay. That's what the broader market index looks like. Now let's just check our open positions. Okay, so these are my current holdings. I currently own Lulu and Zoom Conference Call. Now, I made a video about a month ago where I listed why I bought both of these companies. It was in one of my watch list videos, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it in the description. I'll also put it up right now. You should definitely check that out, because I made an entire video about why I bought these companies, when I bought them, and I did the entire thing live. So you got to hit that up, because we're up huge on these, about 60 and 72% right now. So one thing is we've got big gains on them. We've got kind of small positions in them. Now we need to evaluate, is it time to get out of these positions? Are they about to turn around, or do they still have some room to run? So I'm going to jump back into Quest Trade, and that's going to be the analysis that we're going to perform. Okay, so I'm back in Quest Trade. It is time to go check out these stocks. So the first one here is Lulu. Now, this was my analysis on Lulu and what I thought of Lulu. So we had highs here of about $260 prior to COVID. We dropped all the way down to $128, and we're currently trading at $368. Now, we had a little bit of trading within the channel here, and then we had this basically ascending triangle. This is when I bought in, and since then, the stock has run about 20%. It's done extremely well, and we are doing extremely well because we bought options in it, so we have an even bigger upside. Now, do we think this is continue? Well, I have a couple of concerns here. One is the RSI is already extremely high. The MACD is over, and we don't have a ton of volume. As you can see here, we had one red day where we had a little bit of volume, but since then, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of upward movement, and we haven't had a ton of volume associated with it. So I do foresee a pullback coming. We have nice gains on Lulu, so I am planning to sell Lulu come Monday, is as long as it is in that sort of range of the 360 to 370, 375 range. If it runs up and it gaps up to 380, I'm probably just going to leave it and see how far it can run. But if it stays on this sort of trajectory, I'm going to let it. I'm going to take my profits. I'm going to close it out, and I'm going to say that was a good trade. The other one that we have right now is Zoom. So let me pull that up right now. Now, Zoom was a little bit different. I actually wasn't doing very well on this one, and I decided to hold it. We bought in here at the end of July, somewhere in here, and it dipped down to about 240. I was losing money on Zoom for a good significant time. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of massive, massive gains. We went from $240 to $289, almost a 20-25% change in about a week and a half. And since then, our options have done extremely well. Now, we have broken through the all-time high that was established back in July. We had Friday where we didn't have a great day. It was kind of a doji candlestick, so it wasn't a good sign. Could be a sign of reversal. And so in this one as well, I'm going to be getting out of it this week, depending on how the play goes. Now, if we drop down, I could wait for us to test 280 and hopefully rebound. Or I might just get out of it on Monday, depending on where we open. If we open at the same level or higher, I'm just going to get out of it right away. And I'm going to lock in those profits. So those are the two positions that I have that are open right now. They're both doing extremely well. Super happy with those. I am going to get out of them this week more than likely, but we'll see how the play opens. So that is the market. That is my open positions. And now it is time to check through the watch list. So let's get right into that. Okay, so I just finished up my analysis, and I got a couple of stocks that I want to point out that I like. Number one right now is Nike. We've had a nice breakout of the all-time highs here. They pretty much lined up with prior COVID numbers, and then in the last week here, we've had a nice push up. So I like Nike in the long run. I think they have a little bit of competition troubles, but so far they're doing pretty good, and the technicals look really nice right now. We have a nice breakthrough of the MACD right there. And the RSI is a little high, but I still like Nike. Now, Costco is probably my favorite stock right now that I wish I bought 5-10 years ago. If you look at this, we've got all-time highs of 339 here. We pushed through and consolidated before having a massive breakout to 345, a little bit of a pullback where we tested those previous highs, and since then we've had a nice little run where we are now approaching the 345 high that we established at the beginning of August. So I think there's a great technical opportunity here with Costco, either on the bounce down or on the breakthrough. I like both of those plays. You need to have a trigger point in these ones though, because I do think it's going to be a push up or a push down play, and I think it's going to flush. So we will see what happens with Costco here. I like Costco there. And then Microsoft. This is probably my favorite opportunity of the week. I really like Microsoft because, as you can see here, we've got a really clean upward trend. We've got a double top here that is pushing into a triple top right now. And what I think is going to happen is I do think we're going to break through this. Microsoft has a ton of upward momentum, especially thanks to everything going on with TikTok and all of that. So I do think we're going to see a breakthrough here from 220 up to about 230. I think there's a nice play there if you can capitalize on it and we actually get a clean break. I am worried that it might just gap up on some news, but we'll see what happens there. I also like Facebook. Facebook is pushing right now. Facebook's pushing that all-time high that they set at the beginning of August here. Now, they had some candle wicks that went all the way up to about this 280 level. But since then, they haven't been able to break 270 on the close. So if we close 270, close above 270, I think it does have some room to run. And then Google. I read an article that Michael Berry, the guy from The Big Short, just has a massive position in Google, and I really like Google as well. So very clear upward trend right here. We have a double top that is being established right now. You can see we tested that 1590 level. We are back at that 1590 level. If we break through that, I think Google has a ton of room to run, especially compared to all the other tech companies that are at their all-time highs. Google is now testing that all-time high, and I think they have a great opportunity. And then the last one that I want to point out is Amazon. Now, Amazon is looking like an ascending triangle. The reason I say that is we've got, depending on where you draw your support and resistance line. So if you draw it on the closes, you can see we've basically got 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of the closing high and then a breakthrough. If you test it on the candle wick, you can say, okay, we made a high on the candle wick on July 13th, and we are now testing that high of the candle wick. So depending on how you look at Amazon, you could say we are breaking out. You could say we are testing a breakout. Either way, I think we're going to see something happen with Amazon over the next little while, and I think it's a great opportunity here. So that is a wrap on my technical analysis. Remember the steps. 1, take your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. The markets are closed. Relax with your friends and family. And then when you have some time to yourself, settle down and start working on your game plan. Number 2 is look at the markets. And then number 3 is look at your positions. Markets come first so you can have a clear mind when you look at your positions. After that, you deep dive into your positions and then evaluate your watch list for other opportunities that you may want to capitalize on. So that is my trading routine. That is how I handle my weekends. If you guys got any value out of this, please consider subscribing. I would sincerely appreciate it. My only goal is to make you more money by giving you free content. So I hope to see you in the next videos, and we will talk to you soon.